Well, my name is Nani Marie Sanchez, and this is my show. It's called Self Advocates to Be Empowered. Um, this is my baby, and my show. I have a lot of guests in my show. When when I heard I lost my show because my baby dead, I felt sad. He's supposed to be my friend, but no more. It hurts me to see that because because Stephen A is my friend, and I know why they want to crucify Steve, and it touched my heart, you know. And I don't want to lose my show because I'm a great fighter, and I'm a woman, and nobody don't understand me. And I want people to understand me. I'm a person. And I have needs too. What about you? The city officials. People with disabilities need to hear our voices. Nothing about us without us. That's our motto. And and and, and matter of fact that I was crucified because of my show, because I'm independent. Um, Me and my co-host Melanie Martinez had show. Um, I had my show since 8 years, and the only two with people with disabilities is in Chicago and New Mexico. When my show was dark, I don't have my show anymore. And I had to tell all my guests that I don't have my show. And it's pretty hard on me. It shattered my dream. And I want my show back. And and I'm I am middle of this ball game, and nobody will not be successful. And I am successful, but all these silly jerks, the only nice to me is Ken Sanchez, City Councilor Ken Sanchez, City Councilor Wickham Jr. Everybody knows me because I have those two on my TV show. Um, Ken Sanchez, I know him since he was a little boy, and he's in my heart, just like City Councilor Wickham Jr. I know him because he told me that he graduated from Old Albuquerque High, the old dates, and we have an event um, way back, and it's for the Red Grand Down syndrome. We have Red Jr. to speak, and me and Red Jr. are good friends for a long time. My dream is hope, dreams. I have faith. I have love in me. Um, I have my mom on my TV show talk about her experience, and I have a press conference that Stephen A. did. I'm so very pleased, and unquote, please city councilors, please give unquote their contract back. We want our contract and we want to win. And with Rick Metz, let's work, bud. You off the loop here, because there's no way for you to discrimination against me and other people like me. And Mayberry, I tell you something else. You're worthless. My passion for my TV show was very grateful to have. It's hard for me because my mom was part of the cable board. That shocks me, I love my mom so much, and I was one day that she's in my heart, and I don't like people from Killing Fudge. She always crucified my mom and me, but that's what my mom is still around, and she would fight for me, since she would die for me, and I'm so glad that Killing Fudge is out of the picture, and Rod Perry, I don't know, it's hard to say. I read the city officials and city councilors women fences, and
this is why we are here tonight, is because this isn't just a numbers game. This isn't just a political game. This is human lives, extraordinary human lives. Again, I cannot state enough. One of the reasons I'm sitting here is because I'm astonished that there's only 3 shows in the entire country that are run by people with disabilities for people with disabilities. And I'm sitting here next to the host of one of them. And she just lost her show because of political gamesmanship. And then when they talk about bringing her show back, they talk about requiring her to start taking classes again and learn how to make a show that will get sponsors. The whole reason this woman's voice was even heard 8 years ago is because of public access. The whole reason there's only 3 shows in the country is because this is not marketable. This is not something you can go and sell to the public. This is a very serious human rights issue that Cheerios is not going to sponsor. So Nani has been given a voice by an extraordinary organization called Quote Unquote that has been in operation for a little over 30 years. And they reached out and got her a voice, and she has been speaking powerfully for almost 8 years now. It breaks my heart that we can't say 8 years, because her show should be on right now. And you can see how passionate she is about it. This brings her to tears every time she talks about it. It brings me to tears that I have to even be talking about this. So we have this incredible, extraordinary window of opportunity. We don't know if anything will come of it, but one of the reasons we're here talking about this is because, for some reason, one of the city council members who voted against Nani being able to continue her show has suddenly decided to reverse his position and at least examine what has been going on. Now, one of the first things that happened when the takeover occurred is that both stations went black. Even if Nani had wanted to put on a show, there would have been nothing to watch. That organization, UPublic, with considerable support from the city, made a sworn statement in front of a judge, that if the contract for public access went to Quote Unquote, the city would pull the plug and the station would be black. If the contract went to UPublic, it would be running from day one. So here we have an extraordinary human being who has lobbied her heart and soul to create an environment where people with disabilities don't have to be ashamed of what's going on with them. They don't have to be ashamed of what they were born into. They can be empowered. And Nani has done an extraordinary, really set a national example for how to take this and turn it into something powerful. And she can't do her show right now, folks. And it's because of egos and power games. It's not because Quote Unquote was so awful. If Quote Unquote was so awful, why have they won so many awards? Why were they ranked 5th in the nation under New York and Chicago for most local origination programming? It doesn't make any sense. There's never been any logic to this. So one of the things we're seeking is to get out to the public the information that we have a chance now. City Council is supposed to meet this upcoming Wednesday, 5 o'clock in the basement of City Hall, to discuss this and to basically draw a line in the sand with you public and say, if you can't meet these requirements, we need to re-examine this. So we're asking people who care about Nani's show, who care about some of the other extraordinary programming that's been put on forever, who care about all the kids who lost their sports programs because as soon as you public took over, all of that went out the window, including Brad Winter's son. We're asking people to get behind us yet again to show how intensely deep the roots are in the community for this station. That we are putting on a show right now out of a shoebox on a sidewalk, basically, is the equivalent of how difficult this has been for quote unquote. I'm exaggerating somewhat because we were generously donated this space by the Peace and Justice Center. But the truth is, we've been pulling giant rabbits out of tiny little hats for no reason. One of the things I would like people to know is that Nani, this extraordinary human being, did not come into this world anywhere near as articulate as she is now. This has been a battle for her from almost birth. And the extraordinary thing that came into her life was her mother, Rosemarie Sanchez, who refused to accept any of the limitations and boundaries that society completely set in place for what she's supposed to experience as a child with disabilities. And Rosemarie fought with every fiber of her being, and she passed that fight on to Nani. And I see this woman, when we were up lobbying, I see this woman roaming the halls. Every single politician knows who she is. Even the politicians who've been trying to destroy her show come running up and try and shake her hand and do photo ops with her. That's where she gets very discouraged, because apparently she's important enough for them to be affiliated with her, but not important enough to care about her circumstances, her show, and what she's fighting for. Nani represents a whole bunch of producers whose voices were completely silenced by City Council. I picked Nani because she's in a lot of pain right now. This show is everything to her. She has created amazing legislation. One of the conversations we had, which I'd like her to speak to, one of the things she'd really like to do.
I want to run for District 10. My representative is Kiki Saavedra, and I read he will retire. I want to run for state representative.
So as we were having a discussion when we met the other day, and as usual, all the politicians show up and say hi to Nani. And one of them was the...
Diane Dennis, Lieutenant Governor.
How about Brian?
And Brian Colon.
So we talked to Brian, and I was saying to Brian, well, one of Nani's reluctances about running for politics is all the physical impediments that she has. She needs a certain amount of time off in a day. She has certain health requirements, all these kinds of things. And you know, Nani was saying, I would love to run, except I don't think they will let me do it because of my physical circumstances. And Brian said, no, it's our job to adjust to you. So you heard it here, folks. Nani made a decision yesterday that if we can work it out, we're going to try and get her in office. If it doesn't happen this time, it will happen some other time. Let me hear the applause here. But this is an extraordinary example of the voices across America that will never be heard if it were not for public access, if it were not for people like Steve Ranieri, if it were not for people like the volunteers and the crews on public access that have tirelessly gone out into the communities and gotten people's voices heard about issues that will never, ever make it onto the MTV corporatization of mainstream television. We cannot let this happen. We have a tiny, tiny window that may or may not make any difference. But if anybody watching this can show up, give us solidarity on this meeting on Wednesday. It starts at 5 o'clock. We're going to speak to this issue, and we're going to speak to the fact that this is discrimination by the city, and this is censorship.
They're supposed to have an ADA officer called Americans with Disabilities Act. I don't see one in City Council. they're supposed to give people with disabilities a chance to speak, and I don't see one, only myself. There's a lot of people support me, and my channel, Hungration, wasn't my TV show. Diane Dennis wasn't my show. I have Hector Banderas and Stay Alto on my TV show. He has a special needs daughter, and she has a Down syndrome. And I have Cynthia Garcia, her son, and I have different people on my show. I wish they give me opportunity, give my show back to me. I'm very happy because I want my show back. I want to fight hard, and I wish you give Stephen Avery a chance to reward him for a contract. I have a lot of people, and I want people to support me. And I'm a fighter. I know that I'm a bulldog. And I'll be around, and nobody will not stop me, and I will kick butt. I'm strong, and I know my rights, and one day I like to run for office, and state representative District 10. A lot of people would support me. If not, here's the door. I have a great opportunity. I have hell and back. One day hell, one day back. Because without my mom, where we can I want everything to be perfect one day, and I wish me and my mom will have a great opportunity if my show will be successful.
And again, one of the things that I want to stress with this is that Nani has been approached by UPublic to do a show with them. The mayor even came up a few days ago, interrupted a conversation with other people and ran over to ask her why she wasn't taking a show with UPublic. And that speaks to that whole point of the whole reason for public access was because a lot of people with very important issues in their lives are not going to learn MTV-style editing. They're not going to be able to do slick, corporate, glossy fade-ins and outs and, layered filmmaking, because they're talking about contaminated water supplies. They're talking about radiation exposure. They're talking about tribal rights. They're talking about disabilities issues. When you put that burden on that group to somehow get corporate sponsorship for things that corporations notoriously do not care anything about, then you are effectively censoring them. They can no longer have an outlet to speak because a corporation is not going to sponsor someone who's questioning how much contaminants they're putting into the ocean. So this is a catch-22 that people like Nani have to do battle with, and the only playing field that levels it is public access. And it has been the case for Indigenous rights, it's been the case for minority rights, it's been the case for a whole lot of issues. The debate has been engaged in through that incredible environment of public access. And what Nani is fighting for tooth and nail, what her mother is fighting for tooth and nail, what all our producers are fighting for, everyone who's ever done anything with public access, quote unquote, channels 26 and 27, is that right to speak the truth without the need for it to be glossy or pretty or, have General Motors appreciate what you did. That's not the point of it. And Nani, I think, is one of our strongest speakers to that. This is not about editing skills. It's not about pretty lighting. It's about issues. It's about incredibly important issues. And issues to do with disabilities, because the disabilities rates are skyrocketing, are going to become some of the most important ones in the 21st century. And I feel like we have an incredible speaker here who probably is going to make it politically up the ranks. If we can become an enlightened society, let somebody who wrestles with the conditions that she wrestles with actually have a prominent position in office, then we do live in extraordinary times. And I think that Nani's able to take that on, and I really want to offer her a forum with that. And this is probably one of the only ways she's going to have it. And I'll tell you right now, with you public in control, unless she can get, Dunkin' Donuts to sponsor her, she doesn't have a show. So let's take this back, people. Let's take our power back. Let's give Nani the power she's already exercised that she deserves to have. Nani, one of the things you had talked about was you wanted to do a show about people with disabilities. What was the vision for that?
My vision is I want to have, I'd like to have my children in Santa Fe because there's no show in Santa Fe. And at the Roundhouse. And I'd like to interview brand new people, new senators, new representatives coming through each day. They talk about bills related to disabilities. There's a lot of disability bills right now.
More to the point, Nani, and this is what I want to speak to for everybody, because I don't think anybody knows. You're in a really scary position right now.
Yeah.
With the way that they're playing around with the laws. Tell us what could possibly happen. What's like the worst case scenario if all of this nonsense went through? You were saying you couldn't even live with your mother anymore.
Well, through the DD waiver, I took a test. It's called the Developmental Disabilities Waiver, and they want me to take a test. It's called the ASSIST. The ASSIST it's like assessment tool. It's called AAIIDD, and my test scores it's like a B. A B is no services. I don't have no speech. I don't have family living with my mom. They don't want me to. They want me to move from my mom's house to be more independent.
This would really hurt you. This would really hurt your life.
It really hurts me because I love my mom. I want to stay in the house with my mom. It hurts me a lot because she's the only one to take care of me. The only family member. I lost one family member, and she passed away in 1995. And I'm 38. I wish me and my mom will. Me and her are together forever. And I truly believe that I want services anymore. Nobody want to help us. I wish I had respect. I may lose that. I may lose a lot of services because I have a B. And everybody thinks in Santa Fe that I am smart. And I'm not because my medical needs. And I have sleep apnea. I have autoimmune neutropenia. I have thyroid problems. Those are my weakness and my battles. And I'm trying to cross. I want to tell all these people, please fight. Please fight. Parents, please fight. One day your kid or a daughter will become adult to do it. So I'm very, very famous right now because I work for Nancy Rodriguez, Senator, and I love her. She has a daughter with a developmental disabilities. She passed away, and Senator Nancy Rodriguez hired me. I get paid from the Senate. I love my job. Everybody loves me. Um, I think if I lose the waiver, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And me and my mom talk about that. And right now my mom is tearing up a little bit. Um, I want to make her proud of me. And one day I have a lot of friends in Santa Fe. I have a few. I have a bunch of friends in Albuquerque. But I want people to support me. I hope you guys come to Albuquerque from Santa Fe to be part of this show. I have my best friends, J.O.T.C. Pino, Mama Estes, Gil Chasey, Linda Lopez. I want all of them to be here, but they can't. And I told them what's going on with my show. They want me to be a fighter, to be positive. Let's see what happens on Wednesday. And please pray for my show. I want my show back.
And we want your show back too. One more thing that I want to touch on is you were talking about, I think it was last week, you told me about your friend who also has disabilities, and he wants to do, it's like a charter school for people with disabilities, or?
J.O.T.C. Pino did a joint memorial. It's through the schools. It's called the Disability Month. Disability Awareness Month in October. And he wants it in the schools. And I hope it passes. Because I tried to find it. Jerry's running it. And what happened is me and Baba and Manias worked together to put Disability Month in the schools. And we won it for October. And this joint memorial will help the schools and get disability awareness in the schools and universities like UNM or CNM. I wish everybody will follow the Disability Awareness Month, and on October, J.O.T.C. Pino put it in joint memorial.
And the interesting thing about that, Nani, is that your mother has told me that you were kind of given up on when you were little. That they didn't think you'd ever talk. That some of them weren't even sure you'd ever walk on your own. Yeah. And you're such a good example to me of when somebody actually takes into account what the disabilities community is dealing with, and starts working to integrate them. Amazing things happen. You're talking, you're walking. That supposedly wasn't supposed to happen based on conventional knowledge. So you're such a good example of, if we could really get the system more enlightened and get programs that get people to understand that this is doable. If you put the time and the energy into it and you understand what these children are going through, you might be running for office.
Exactly. I may run for office. I wish they would write me letters or call me. If they want me be elected, I hope you come to vote for me. If not, I have a lot of support out in the community.
Well, you certainly have my support, and I hope you have everybody else's support, and anybody who's watching this that gets to see it. If you can please join us Wednesday, 5 p.m.
Please come.
Please come. City Hall. is going to be a sort of hearing by the city council about what, in fact, UPublic has accomplished and whether it, in fact, complies with their needs. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me on your show. Keep up the good fight.
Thank you. Okay, my question is, what's going on with Kenley Fudge and Rob Perry and Dave Matthews about cable board, and why it's not my mom is in the loop of the cable board?
Well, I can answer some of that, not all of it. I know that Carolyn Fudge is no longer
Right.
in that position, and she's doing something else for the city. As far as the cable board, it's in. I don't believe it's been just taken away, but at the same time, it's not operating. So the administration appears to just has dropped it without telling anybody what's going on, which is a bit unprofessional. And in terms of what quote unquote is doing and what's happening with public access, again, you said quite a bit in terms of like what you know is going on in public access with UPublic. What's happening with quote unquote is that we're moving ahead, and that's all there is to it. We don't have hardly any money, but we have an awful lot of people who support us.
Right.
And we're going to continue the fight, and the fight is on a number of different levels. One part of it is a lawsuit that we have filed against the city of Albuquerque, and that's moving forward. But beyond that, we've made it our goal to simply never be defeated in this whole thing.
Right.
What we're doing is we're doing programs like this on a shoestring, pretty much. We're doing it, putting out programming, local programming about things that are really important happening in Albuquerque, and we're not doing it with the equipment and so forth that Rick Metz and them have, but we're doing it, and we're putting out productions that they should be doing, but they're not. And we want to make a point of that, a very definite point of that this can be done. And moving forward, we're looking at the possibility of expanding in terms of collaborations with other organizations. Right now, we've been working a lot with the Robert F. Kennedy Charter School. They've really embraced us. They've done a great job, in terms of like helping us out. If they hadn't helped us out, I don't know what would happen when we were literally thrown out into the street, with no notice, no prior notice, back in June of 2012. They found a place for us to put our things and everything, and now they're working with us to bring what we do in terms of training and productions of programming to the kids in their school, the RFK Charter School. And so we're putting together a collaboration with them, and we are looking forward to the possibility of maybe at some point having moving to a building with them and continuing to have a studio.
With accessible I call it for people with disabilities.
Yes, it will be. Absolutely. That's why we're looking at a specific building. We'll see what happens. We've been up in Santa Fe. We've been talking to the legislature. We've been talking to the senators, and we've had a pretty good.
Did we talk to Senator Jerry Ortiz-Pina?
Oh yeah, he was about the first person we talked to, and so we had a pretty good reception up there. We'll see what happens in the end, but we had a lot of people pledged support for what we're doing and what RFK Charter School is doing to try to establish a media center for youth in the South Valley.
That's great.
And that would be a real, a breakthrough for a lot of people and give opportunities to a lot of kids who really need it.
In Santa Fe, February 22nd is the Youth and Media Day. Are you going to it?
Probably.
That's good.
Yeah.
Jerry Ortiz-Pina talked to me about what's going on with you in the station. And I talked to Mama yesterday about it too. And he wants to help you.
I, I understand that. I know that. And that's the thing that's really helped us, I think, get through this really difficult period because, you know, we were, like I said before, we're literally thrown out in the street, the contracts taken away, a lot of the equipment that we had taken away, and we had to really scramble to survive, and we have survived. And the reason we survive is because there are an awful lot of people out there in the community who support, quote unquote, specifically as an organization for what we have done over the years, but also recognize the necessity of having an outlet for people in the community to speak.
Exactly.
And we're it. I mean, if you look around at the media in this city, and this is also nationwide, there aren't very many outlets for people, regular, ordinary folks, you know, to say what they need to say, to get the issues out, to be recognized, and to do so without having to spend, you know, a lot of money, without having to meet certain requirements. What you had said before in terms of, and what Laura had said in terms of the taking away of people's rights, First Amendment rights, that's exactly what has happened. The city administration is trying to make it look like, oh, it has to do with money or it has to do with, we want a higher quality and so forth, but the reality of it is that there are thousands of television channels across the United States that have the high, very professional and lots of money going into the productions and everything, and it's commercial television. They have all kinds of commercial ads and so forth, like, you know, all that stuff. Why do we need more? Anybody ask that question? No, we need television that also is for the ordinary folks, not the people who are the professionals, the stars and so forth, but regular people who need to get their word out about what's happening to them. That only happens with public access.
Right.
And by taking away these channels and inserting a commercial method of doing productions, which what the city has been trying to do and what the public has been trying to do, is not necessary. For one thing, there's again thousands of channels like that across the United States. Why do we need one more? You know, but we do need these kind of channels that give people a voice and that recognize the First Amendment.
Right.
And that's what we stand for, and it needs to continue.
Well, we need to get a lot of people for city council. It's at 5 down in the basement. And we need to get a lot of people to support us, Steve. And we need to talk to Julio Tisapino, Mo, Gil Tracy, talking to new senators. Like Jacob Candelaria, he's new. Ivy Soto, he's new. William Schultz, he's new. Pete Campos, he's good. He wrote me a nice letter. And he told me that I'm a good worker up there.
Well, he's right.
Yeah.
He's right.
And he's my mentor, but Nancy Rodriguez is my mentor.
Right.
And with Nancy, she knows what's going on. And she knows what's going on with my TV show. And she needs to talk to you about it.
Okay.
And
Get up there and talk to her about it. Okay.
We need to educate her.
Okay. All right.
And you need to educate Kiki Saavedra.
All right.
Because he didn't know what's going on with his TV show. He runs... I never run him to my show yet, but he's scared. But let's see what happens with him.
Okay.
Because he's going to retire.
Okay. Well, if people want to help, there are a lot of things they could do. obviously we need donations since we don't have a steady income anymore. But we also need people to speak out like you are,
Right.
and just to talk about their experiences and what it is they want. Because what we've seen happen here is a taking away of what many people want to have happen and replaced by the few and what their agenda is. And that needs to be turned around. So having people speak out about what's happened and what this community needs, that's primary right there.
Right.
And then also just look at the situation and see what they can do about it, and maybe go to a meeting of the city council or talk to their representatives, all those sort of things.
Right.
And again, you know, I will make a pitch for donations if anybody can donate. And last but certainly not least is get involved because we're still here. You know, there's some people apparently they thought we would just go away and they could kill us and that'd be the end of public access. It'd be the end of quote unquote, but it hasn't happened. And now we're going on a year. You know, in a few more months it'll be a year, and we will have we're still moving along. And so if people want to get involved, they can have their TV show, and we can do it.
Eric Grigor was involved with you.
A lot of people, yes.
Yes.
Obviously, a lot of people have been over the years. This organization has trained thousands of people for video production, for doing television channels, television programs, and we estimate more than 9,000.
Right.
And we have incredible amounts of programming that have been accumulated over all these years.
You need
And
to
it's going to get out there to
yeah.
the public.
You need to start doing some more fundraising, Steve.
I know. Yes, I know.
And we need to have a lot of people with disabilities to start this training. And I went to a conference for Southwest Conference on Southwest Conference on the disability. I don't see a table there for unquote.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, for this year, you should have a table.
Well, we need to do something about that then, don't we?
Yes.
Okay. Well, Nani, thank you so much for having me up here to talk a bit about what's happening now with quote unquote. And like I said, we're moving ahead and have many people who are supporting us, especially people like you who have to be one of our biggest supporters.
Yes.
You and your mother. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.